Hey there, Cliff here. So I kind of want to talk about this idea of not knowing where to start. I've definitely been there myself. In fact, I was there about 3 months ago. As of this time, I've only been drawing for about 2 months. But yeah, 3 months ago, I was basically just sitting around Googling stuff for, where to start, basic instructions, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And I think it's easy to find yourself in that situation for a lot of things, not just drawing. I found myself there on like so many things, programming, photography, music stuff, which I also do sometimes. It's so easy to be afraid of, I think it's easy to be afraid of failure, of the commitment, the sacrifice, or I think it's different for every person. And there's a book about this called Art and Fear, which I read in the first few weeks after I finally started drawing. So I kind of want to talk about this specific fear, this fear of starting and finding where to start. So yeah, I think it's easy to be immobilized by fear, and we're full of fear. We fear everything, especially for the fear of starting. I think there's this anxiety that you have to do things the right way, um, or you're afraid that you won't be any good, or some people are afraid of the blank page. There's that. This is so common to hear about you just staring at a blank page and not knowing what to put. And so then the question is, how do you move past that fear? And the answer really is you just do it. And the question of where to start is you start anywhere. It doesn't really matter. And I think accepting that it doesn't really matter is the key. So I'll tell you what worked for me. Over time, I've piled up tons and tons of art supplies. I'd always convinced myself that I was going to learn to draw. I'd go buy a brand new notepad or whatever, a new drawing pad, some new pencils or whatever, and I'd bring it home and I'd basically open it up, stare at the blank page, and never do anything. Every once in a while I would use a page or two or something, but I wouldn't like what I did, of course, because I'm new, and I'd just kind of stop. So what worked for me this time was sort of reversing the way I was thinking about it. Instead of worrying so much about what I was going to create, I decided to focus on what I was going to destroy. Now that sounds very negative, but my way of thinking of it is every day now I have the goal of destroying one piece of paper. And of course I'm destroying it by drawing or scribbling. It doesn't matter. Any mark on the piece of paper is fine. So I think the reason this works is because, consider a child. A child loves drawing. They'll scribble all over a piece of paper. They'll scribble all over the walls. They have, reckless abandon. They don't care. They have no fear of waste or failure or destruction or mockery. They don't have any of that. They just want to draw. They just want to put marks on a piece of paper. And I think the key is really finding that childlike joy in drawing. So I think the best way to get past the fear of starting is to go ahead and just, you probably have paper or some notebooks or something. Just grab that and a pencil or a paper and destroy it. Destroy it by making marks all over it. And I did this for the first couple weeks. I did think of it this way. I mean, I was trying to draw some stuff, but if you go and look at my videos, which I can link in the description of my first couple weeks, a lot of them are what I was calling circle and line drawings. They're just scribbles. And that's how a child learns to draw. They just scribble, and eventually they start trying to make things. So I think the key is capturing that childishness. If you don't have paper or a notebook, you can go get, paper is cheap. Just go get, a stack of computer paper. You can get 500 for maybe, a sheet of paper can easily cost less than a penny. I've bought these stacks of drawing or cardstock paper, which is effectively printer paper, and I think 500 is under $10, and there's cheaper paper than that, no doubt. But I also have a bunch of old stuff that I'm still trying to destroy, and I've found all these old notebooks I have, and I'm trying to destroy them. Part of this is accepting that your drawings, the thing that you make, don't matter. It's the act of doing it that matters. If you can't find that childish joy in drawing, you will never be good at it because you won't enjoy enough to do it. And it's as simple as that. I've wanted to learn to draw for 10 or 12 years, so I've been doing this for I've basically been doing this to myself for a long time. And yeah, it's stupid, and I admit it, it's stupid. I regret it. But that's how you learn, is you make mistakes and then you fix them. And so the key is to continue making mistakes. Instead of fearing mistakes, you want to actively make mistakes. Go out of your way to make mistakes. And obviously, I'm talking about drawing here, so scribble all over and like try to draw something, see what's wrong with it, and then try to draw it better. There are times to avoid mistakes, obviously, and so even though what I'm saying applies to a lot in life, I'm specifically talking about drawing. And so like there's this classic story of this pottery teacher who split his class in two. He had half of the class focus on making perfect pottery. Their grade was tied to the perfection of the pottery. And then the other half, he graded them based on the weight. Like he wanted them to make as much pottery as possible, and then their grade would be based on the weight. But at the end of the course, the best pieces came out of the people graded on weight. So the people that went for quantity instead of quality. Because the people that went for quality just sat there worrying about how to make a perfect piece, and they never actually tried to make it. It's better to do it a whole bunch of times and fail a whole bunch of times as if it doesn't matter than it is to sit there and worry about how to make the best thing. So yeah, reversing your focus to focus on the negative actually turns out to be a positive thing. Trying to fail, trying to destroy paper is better than trying to draw the perfect thing from the beginning. Even now, over 2 months in, I still try to destroy paper, and I figure I will probably do this as long as I'm drawing, which I hope is the rest of my life. I will occasionally just sit down and destroy paper. I'll scribble all over. I'll always come back to looking for that childish joy. I think the most important thing about finding this childish fearlessness is it also lets you have this childish joy. So switching your mind to just destroying and having fun with it will make you have fun with it. I've had a blast learning to draw ever since I've started focusing on just churning through paper and drawings and paintings. And I mean, that's really what you want, right? You want to have that joy from it. You don't want it to feel like work, or else you're not going to do it. And I mean, nothing I've created so far is great, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. Eventually, something I create will be, but then I'll move on from that too. The drawings and paintings that come out of it, to me, they don't matter. It's the process in getting the ideas out that matter. So yeah, if you're having trouble getting started, I hope this helps you with that. I hope it helped you see things in a different way and get past the trouble you're having. Take care.